trainer. So when I come over, let's say to the Pacific, and I want to train folks about technologies, the perspective that I bring is from the mountains, right? Pacific has its own challenges, and I may not be able to do justice when I'm in my narratives, when I'm talking to you, when I'm discussing technologies with you. I'm just giving an example, right? Thus, reverse applies too. We can't have Australian coming to the mountains and trying to teach us how networking is done either, because yes, the technology is correct, but the challenges are different. So that's why it's very important that we have a local perspective, right? Could be cultural issues, could be language barriers, right? I'll throw in an example here. We have Jessica, our colleague Jessica. She speaks English, she speaks Chinese. And when we have to do trainings in China, requests come in and say, hey, can you have the local language speaking trainers, the Chinese speaking folks? And it's only just that we have. Right? So language, because comprehension matters a lot. I might be fluent in English, I might try to talk to you, and I will do justice at least in English, but the comprehension from the local audience, maybe English is not their first language, which for many of us in Asia Pacific, English is not our first language, right? So that local language matters a lot too in terms of comprehension, so that the takeaway from the training is good enough for you. The other one is resource challenges. When I go to a place like Samoa, I tell people that, oh, this technology is good, that one is good, but how do I know your challenges in terms of how big your company is? Yes, you understand that a newer technology or a better technology is useful and it's better, but you may not have the resources to actually adopt that or to deploy that technology. So maybe you need to be a bit more innovative, right? I don't know that, but you know that local challenges, right? Over the last 1 week of workshop, we found out that some people here in OPT, some engineers here in ISPs in New Caledonia, they have come up with some really innovative techniques to overcome challenges that they have. Very simple concepts, but they did that because they can't afford to buy a box that does it. So they made the box. Right? So that's your resource challenges. And then geographical challenges, right? As we saw during Jonathan Brewer's presentation, the most scarcely populated region of the world is the Pacific, right? All I see is a big ocean out there. I zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, and there is a dot out there. And there are people on those dots, right? So that, I don't know. I have no idea about that, right? Nor would most of our trainers have an idea about the geographical challenges that you guys have to go through. And along with that comes political challenges too, right? Geopolitics is a major problem. I come from a region where I'm sandwiched between two of the biggest countries in the world, right? I'm from Bhutan. I know the geographical challenges, the geopolitics that's in that region, but I don't know that. So that kind of messaging, when we deliver our trainings, messaging also matters. And if we have local people, we can tailor the messaging, right? We can tailor our narrative so that it benefits you, right? And the last one. Right? You know what's relevant to you, right? We can come and teach you SDN, assuming that it's the hottest topic out there, but maybe it's not relevant for you yet, right? There are mega networks that might require that amount of automation, but you might have a network with just one router or two routers, and for you right now, fundamentals might be more important than advanced topics. Right? How do I know that? Huh? My throat is already dry, nervous, I suppose. And that's where we have this, our APNIC started this community trainers program where the idea was to consolidate all this widespread operational knowledge that is out there in the Asia Pacific region, try and bring them all together, right? and create a pool of operationally active folks with local knowledge, with local expertise, right? With a good understanding of local challenges. So please, that's the link there, right? Don't mind my narrative, right? This is not a workshop. In a workshop, I'm as fluid as a liquid, but in this kind of stuff, I'm not so fluid. So anyways, please join the team, right? Share your experience, all right? Sharing your experience means you break things, you make things, right? You can share those experiences. What I have broken, maybe you will break one day, so you do not have to break. Here is a good example. Jordi, he is from Spain. He's in our parts of the world. He might have broken so many things. Yes, Jordi? We do not have to break, right? A few, all right. He was a good engineer. So we may not have to repeat the same mistakes that he went through, right? So that's what sharing your experience is all about, right? And of course, learn from others' experience too, right? Example, let's say we have Jethro from Vanuatu. And I really like Jethro's talk about the experiences that he went through building an internet exchange in Vanuatu, the political issues that they have to overcome, and sharing that out there in the platform. Also, there might be Pacific countries that have similar challenges. You can pick things off his experience and then make sure you don't have to go through those not so good experiences. Yes? And I don't know, there are familiar faces from our workshops, human networking, right? Internet cannot work without human networking, right? How do you peer? You talk, yes? I cannot go to an internet exchange and without talking to anyone build a peering session, yes? Someone like me from the Himalayas, I was fortunate enough, I came across many of the who is who of the internet, and that helped. We were so far away, remote, but turned out okay. Right? It's because through human networking. We did not know something, but we knew someone who knew that. So we contact them and say, hey, I'm going through this problem, can you help out? Yeah, names like Randy Bush, who are godfathers out there, but we knew them through someone, and we asked help from them, yes? So human networking is vital. You never know when you might need them. So when you exchange cards at these conferences, if you're not good with if you lose things like I lose things. I lost my wallet and Lisa found it and gave it back to me. Take a picture of your of the cards that you exchanged. Right? You never know when you might need them. Right? Human networking is the key, I suppose, to building a better internet. What is next? Teaching. To teach someone means you need to learn a lot, right? I can't just wing it, right? I might be able to wing it for 15 minutes, right? And I'll throw stuffs at people, overwhelm them, but there are some smart ones in the class who will eventually find you out, right? So to be able to teach someone, you do end up studying a lot, right? APNIC's new course, Software-Defined Networking, it's a very new course. I don't have operational experience in that field. I had to learn a lot from experts like architects and vendors, from other operators who have deployed it. Wherever I meet them, I spend time with them. Hey, why did you even do it? What was the case? We network, we learn a lot just to be able to deliver that to others, right? So teaching involves a lot of learning. You become a bit better at concepts. You dig a bit deeper, right, to be able to teach someone, right? Yeah. And of course, the last one, right? It's a nice feeling, right, to be able to help others when you're volunteering. I'm not selling you anything, right? I can probably use words that others may not be able to use. If I'm a vendor, you will bash me, right? Vendor bashing is a common thing, right? If I'm selling you something, that money thing takes over, right? Economics takes over, and even though I might be good at what I do, you still wouldn't trust me so much, right? But when you are a volunteer, when you're a part of the community, you have no agenda. Your only agenda is to help others. It has a good feeling, right? You sleep well. Of course, I'm having quite the issue here, sleeping, but generally you tend to sleep well, being able to help others. It's a very nice feeling, right? So please, I'm really proud of what I got up there. Let us help us help you, right? I'm not a native English speaker, but turns out I'm okay with English words. Help us help you, basically the community. And how do we do that? APNIC delivers a lot of trainings, right? But we are only few people in the team, right? How can we scale this? There are demands. People send us requests left and right. In a month, there are only so many days. We can only do so many trainings. help us scale out. Doesn't have to be full-time APNIC employees going out and delivering those trainings. I'll give you an example. Anurag is in the room. There was Indian Knock lately. We requested Anurag, found out that he was available at that time, and requested Anurag to deliver a training on our behalf. Not just in India, he was in Taiwan too last time, delivering on our behalf with Tawhid. Right? So if we have this distributed, this spread out resources across the Asia Pacific, 56 economies in the Asia Pacific, massive. APNIC has only about 75 employees. Even if every employee in APNIC is a trainer, I don't think we can scale, right? So that's why we need this resource that is spread out across the region, right, to help us scale. Yes? And then, of course, comes the most important part. Our training is only as good as how accurate our technical things are. The accuracy of the technical stuff in our materials matter a lot, right? I can't be teaching you something that was okay 10 years ago, right? Things change every week, every month, things change. You guys are active. You guys do it on a daily basis, right? You guys are operationally active. Help us validate our content. Even our existing content, it doesn't have to be a new content. It could be an existing content that we do. You can point out and tell us, hey, I don't think that's right. Right? We do it differently now. It actually helps us keep improving our content. Right? And then if there are new technologies out there on the horizon and you're already playing with it, you could help develop that for us. Right? Like I was saying, most of us in the training team, we had left our industry a couple of years ago. Right, so what we know may not necessarily be up to the mark, so please help us out here, right? I guess the same applies for the third one, right? The third one is very important because it's about relevancy, right? I can have a technically accurate content, but if it's not relevant to you, what's the use of it? So think about that. Maybe your economy needs more content around scaling networks, and we may not have a content that is around that. So you could help us develop those kind of contents, right? Anything? Right. Relevancy is very, very important. I think we can't teach a content that we teach in Singapore or Hong Kong to those kind of developed economies and go to Samoa and expect the Samoan folks to, or our Pacific folks to want that, right? Relevance matters. We need to be able to customize our narrative, our content, to what you need and what you want, and that's where the value is, right? And you can help us do that. So please join the team, right? And how can you join? The earlier link I shared, this is available on the conference page, so feel free. On that link, on the community trainers page, there is a link for expression of interest. Submit your expression of interest, right? We understand the fact that you have a day job, you have a full-time job. It's asking you to volunteer to be a part of the community, right? But when you volunteer and when you are working on our behalf, we will make sure that there are not much there is no out-of-pocket expense, right, for you, right? We will pay for your travel, we will pay for your accommodation, we will pay you a daily rate, making sure that you have no out-of-pocket expenses, right? Because you sacrifice your time away from work to be able to help us. There might be your own internal issues with your management. You would want to help, but if your management has a very urgent project that they want you to work on, I don't think we can help out there. But I think it's up to you to convince them the value of being a part of the community, the value of networking, the value of sharing your experience as well as learning from others. Yes? So currently we have a small pool of community trainers, mostly from Bangladesh, a very active community in South Asia, right? And I credit that to pioneers like Sumon Bhai. Simon is in the room. Some of the seniors in the industry in Bangladesh, they encourage this kind of community engagements. They send out their people out. They're okay to give them leaves, paid leaves, right? And it's a nice culture that they have out there, right? We have one from India, and I'm not going to name his name, Anurag. We have from India, and we also have from Nepal. We have a couple from Nepal. We have from Indonesia, we have from the Philippines, and we have one in Australia. And look at the Pacific area. We have only one from the Pacific, from Vanuatu. Jethro is the only one we have from the Pacific, right? We would like better representation from the Pacific. Some of the solutions that you guys have are really innovative because necessity, of course, instigates innovation, right? Like people say, necessity is the mother of invention, right? You guys have such a challenging geography, and some of the solutions that you come up with could be easily applied somewhere else, right? So we would like to see better representation from every part of our region, right? The sub-region, especially the Pacific region, it's really sad that we don't receive so many expression of interests either. Having said that, we already have received around 11 new expression of interest. We have vetted them through the first round. They are through to the next round. This is important, right? Assessment on merit. It cannot be just for the sake of us spreading it out. You need to have the quality, right? Because we don't teach students. I kept saying that. We teach engineers like yourself, right? And we don't even teach, actually. We discuss. It's more a discussion than teaching. It's about me sharing my experience with you, some of the other community trainers flying in from other countries sharing their experience with you, right? So that's why it's very important that we assess you and we select you on the basis of merit, right? Not just because I said that we would like to spread it across the region doesn't mean that we have a quota system for regions, right? We will assess you on merit, right? And some of the criteria that we look for, of course, technical competency is obvious, right? You need to be technically competent. You need to be good at what you do. But unlike APNIC full-timers, we don't expect you to be expert all across the spectrum, right? You could be a good network engineer. One could be a good systems engineer. One could be a good security engineer. We would love that. You're good at what you do, right? Next one, operationally active. This is very important, right? That's the reason why we want to build this pool of community trainers, right? Because of that, you are more operationally active than most of the full-timers that are in our team, right? You do things on a daily basis. Something breaks in your network on a daily basis. You're fixing problems on a daily basis. And that is beautiful, right? Operational knowledge is beautiful. So that's why the second criteria is that you are operationally active. That's very important. Else we can get some of the most highest qualified folks who may not be operationally active, right? And the third one is a request and also a hope that you are active within your community. You might be the smartest guy in the country, but if you don't want to share that knowledge with the rest of the world or within your community, right, there are NOGs, network operators groups, in pretty much every country around. Right? If there are none in your country, maybe it's time you start that, right? And a NOG does not have to be a grand conference. Right? Could be a half day. All right, a half-day beer session, maybe with like-minded people, and that could be your NOG 1.0 or 0.1, whatever you want to call it, right? Like-minded people coming together, discussing technical stuffs, right? And if you're doing voluntary activities in your own country, if you're active in your NOG community, it's a bonus for us. That means you are the kind who would like to share with the community. It's very important to that criteria, right? Last one, I think again is very obvious. English, of course, within Asia Pacific. I think APNIC's official language is English. It is. I'm very new. That shows. I'm new to APNIC, not a veteran yet. And your own local language, definitely, right? It's very obvious. But any other regional languages would also be a bonus. In the past, we have had few community trainers from Southeast Asia who were also fluent in Mandarin or another languages, so that would be a big bonus, because most of the feedbacks that we get is, can we have a trainer or a training in our local language, right? And I understand English is not our native, English is not our first language, right? And when you have a trainer who can deliver in your own local language, the comprehension becomes much easier, right? Like I was in Nepal for NPNOC last year. I speak in English, and my friend Ram keeps translating that in Nepali. And I was not feeling it. And I said, guys, I speak Nepali too, right? And then I started explaining BGP in Nepali, ISIS in Nepali. And then there is this nice atmosphere in the room, right? So it does matter. It does matter in terms of delivery, if you can deliver it in the language that people are familiar with. Yes. So we would actually like to see these yellow dots spread around, you see. Australia, too big, so forget that part. But rest of the dots in the Pacific, we would like to see these yellow dots, a network of APNIC community trainers spread across the region. You know, that would be really nice. And that would mean that Asia Pacific has a very vibrant community, right? I think Asia Pacific is still playing a catch-up game when it comes to the internet. This is my own honest opinion. How long do we play the catch-up game? You will always be playing the catch-up game, you know, if we don't cooperate with each other, if we don't share knowledge with each other, right? It's time to stop playing the catch-up game, and it's time to you to be peers with the rest of the world, right? And this is very important. For us to be able to achieve that, we really need a good network of community folks, right? All right, a quick aside. That was on the community trainers. I wanted to let you know about a completely revamped APNIC Academy. Remember, we were discussing scaling issues with face-to-face trainings. Right? With face-to-face trainings, we can only do so much. We can only be in so many countries. We can only train so many people. And sometimes we need to shut down labs because the session is over, and people are still interested in continuing playing with the labs. So here we have, there is APNIC Academy. It is completely different to what was there last time around. There are, we have online courses which you can learn on your own whenever you're free, self-paced whenever you're free, right? Whereas when you do face-to-face, you need to be there when we are delivering it, else you miss it, right? But with the online academy, APNIC Academy, whenever you're free, whenever your kids are asleep, when your wife isn't bothering you, or when your husband isn't bothering you, right? Self-paced, you know, on your own terms. And there are also, I really like the third part, the video tutorials. I really like it. I think it's easier to learn through a video tutorial. So APNIC also has, Academy also will be providing video tutorials. We have some already on some very basic labs. We already have that. That's just a teaser of what's coming. You know, we can't just give you away everything on day one. It might bore you. So we will tease you. We will even gradually push more content onto the academy. So there are video tutorials, but the most game-changing one, I think, is the virtual labs. We will build whatever. We have received feedbacks, and we had similar BoF last year, and few of our community trainers told us, colleagues told us that it'd be nice to have multiple platforms available, right? But please remember that we teach the technology, we can't teach the platform, right? If we start teaching every interface that's out there, by interface I mean a CLI, right? CLIs are closed environments. These are walled environments. Cisco has a different CLI. Microtech has a different CLI. Huawei has its own. Juniper has its own. Teaching JunoOS would mean teaching you the whole hierarchy. That would in itself be a workshop, right? We focus on the technology, not on the CLI. And that's why our labs are primarily based on Cisco iOS. That's because it's the most predominant and it's easy to do. Right? But that doesn't mean that We are forcing you to do it, right? That's why our virtual labs actually allows you, it gives you a platform that you're familiar with. At the moment, I think we have Cisco, we have MikroTik, JunoS is on its way. Soon down the line, we are also thinking we will do some open source tools also. Big fan of Bird here, so like to do, so that gives you that flexibility to keep playing with whichever platform you're familiar with, right? So please jump over to our academy, give us feedback. Has anyone won the prize, academy? It's tomorrow. Hey guys, you still have time for that, right? You could win it. Please give us feedbacks about what you think in terms of interactivity, in terms of how you would like us to structure the workspace when you do your virtual labs. Please let us know, right? Here are a few examples. At the moment, yes, we concede that the courses we have are very basic and we have only few courses up there. It takes time. It's easy to do a slide. Peter San, our curriculum manager, is in the room. We can easily do slides sitting down together, but for Peter and his team to actually get that into a format on the academy, it takes them so much time to do that, right? So bear with us, we will have more, right? At the moment, we have Internet Resource Management, of course, we are a registry, right? And most of you are APNIC members, so it is good to know how to manage your resources. The part I did not like the most when I was ISP. Managing resources is so tedious, so it's good to know how to do it in an easier manner, right? We have Introduction to Cybersecurity, and we have a basic teaser on routing, a basic how routing works, kind of intro to routing, right? We have video tutorials. Currently, it's on V6. You guys must have already noticed when I was in the workshop, I was pushing V6 so much, right? Even segment routing over MPLS data plane, I'm not a fan. So the next one we are hoping is segment routing over V6 data plane. You know, it's a part of the native stack. It's now not something that's out of the stack, right? So that's why we have a few basic video tutorials out there. And then this was the virtual labs that I was talking about. You also have a sandpit out there. A fully meshed topology at the moment, where you can pretty much do whatever you want to do with it. But there are also specific ones, all the basic Slack and stateful and stateless DHCP V6 labs if you want to play with Cisco, or at the moment we have Cisco and MikroTik, so have a look, right? And maybe we don't have platforms that you might be using, give that as a feedback and say, hey guys, in the Pacific, we are more familiar with this, let us know. Right. All right. So that was about the program. Now let's get to the main event. Generally in a BoF, BoFs are supposed to be a discussion. This time around, I was thinking that let's do it a bit different. So here is what we are going to do today. I don't know if we have paper, or even if you don't have paper, just maybe we'll pass the mic around and I'll request one of my colleagues to take notes of what people are saying. This is what we would like to know. Are there any operational issues within your network as of today? Please list out critical operational issues that you are facing as of today, right? Once we collect those and we project it up, what we would like to do is, based on real problems that you say you have, we would like to do this. How can we help? We meaning you and us. Right? How can we help? Can it be through more face-to-face trainings? Can it be through more online materials? Can it be through technical assistance, direct technical assistance? By the way, we also provide technical assistance, right? APNIC. Some people, there are a couple of IXPs that we have helped build in the Pacific, right? Our friends pinged us and said, can you give us some technical assistance? So we sit down with them, understand their problems, look at their network, if it's a network re-architecting or redesigning, and then we sit down and come up with a solution together, right? So could it be through that? Or could it be through new trainings or new content? Maybe we don't have those content that you would need to solve those problems. right? Could it be through those? So let's do that. I don't know how to do this. How do we have paper in the room? Landine, can I get some papers, please? Can I get some papers? Yes, thank you. Yeah. Pens, I suppose by now everyone has a copy of the Apenic pen, at least one Apenic pen with you. Or we can forward the mic and someone will note it down. Maybe that might be quicker and easier. Warren can type it. All right, then. But my fear is people are shy to walk up to a mic and not be able to express them. And that's why I was thinking that it would be easier for people to write it down.
What should work together?
Yeah. So
Mic and paper.
on the phone? Clay is suggesting something from the back.
Perhaps if we broke up into small groups.
Yes.
Priorities and then.
Hi. All right, let's start. Whoever is brave enough, please come to the mic and let us know some of the real problems that you're facing, and we will note them down. Right, once we have those lists, let's do this quickly. How much time do we have? About 30 minutes? 10. Who was? 10.
Okay. Let me start. The ball rolling. Okay, I'm Vic from Philippines. As far as operational issues is concerned, I don't have any. But in terms of content, there is one that I suggested to Adli. Although the content that we have in our training are all good, so we are on the proactive side, how to protect our network. Now, I find the training of Geoff Hoston, yeah. Those topics, I think it's more on the defensive side. I mean, more on the reactive side, right? Because in the event that an attack will occur, then at least we should know how to defend or how to recover from failure.
Sure.
So I find that part, there will be future training related to that with hands-on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take that into consideration, so thank you.
I don't know if this is the right place to say this, but I think when you consider trainings.
Name and organization.
Sorry, Jordi Palet, the IPv6 company.
Jordi from IPv6.
Okay, when you consider trainings, and I just saw that you have trainings for MikroTik, which IPv6.
No, we provide labs. We don't.
Or labs, okay.
Only the platform. They can play with it.
Okay, yeah. But the thing is, I don't think you should encourage platforms, whatever is it, trainings, labs, whatever, that are bad for deploying something. And let me explain that. MikroTik is good for replacing a expensive BGP router, but MikroTik is the worst platform for IPv6 deployment. They don't support transition at all, and we have suggested them since 5 years already, do something, and they don't care. I think that's a bad advice for the community, because if the community look at your website and see, oh, there is something on IPv6 which MikroTik, they may thought that it's a good platform.
Yes.
And maybe they are going to invest in something that it will be useless for them.
Thank you, John.
So I think in general, and I am just having the example of MikroTik and IPv6, but in general, I think if you do anything with a specific vendor, you should make sure that it really works. Otherwise, it's useless. For example, you mentioned about open source.
Yep.
I think it will be fantastic if the people can see that as a replacement to the vendors that are not supporting their own CPEs, they can be reflashed with OpenWRT, for example.
Yes.
Or if somebody want to do a NAT64 instead of buying an expensive box, can use Joule.
Yes, I
so
agree.
those are things that probably are more useful for people that, especially in this region, I am having the same situation in Africa and Latin America, they cannot invest in big boxes, but there are open source solutions that can make it.
Valid, Jordi. Thank you for your input. From my own experience too, recursive lookup seems to be quite a problem on router OS with V6. We'll take those things into account, definitely. Thank you for that. Anyone? That's why I think paper is a good idea. Simon Bhai, if you can just pass around paper. Yeah, those who are brave enough, please keep walking to the mic. Paper uta deko still.
Okay. One thing I have noticed while being a network engineer in Telecom PG Limited, it's more about APNIC provides various trainings like network security, routing, and everything. But one training that I feel that it should be provided to the community is how to improve the quality of experience of users, how to build the tools that help you troubleshoot faster. Techniques, sometimes an engineer would be facing various kinds of issues in the network, right? But the community have gone through those issues. So how about we build up a systematic approach on troubleshooting the network issues that happen and ways to proactively monitor it and ensure reduce the time that we take to troubleshoot. So sometimes some engineer is troubleshooting and there's various kind of issues, BGP issues, this. How about we collect data on this, like there are various kinds of issues that are happening and come up with a training, and then in that training we build separate kind of scenarios that engineers face in the Pacific, in the network, especially network, and then teach them. So when they are trained in this way, when they go back and they face issues, they'll be faster and build more robust networks. So this training would be very beneficial to the community.
Thank you, Shabnil.
Thank you.
I think it's more around network management and monitoring, right? So we do have something in the pipeline, and we are also discussing with experts more about telemetry. SNMP is a very heavy. I'll put it this way. I'll be decent. SNMP is a very heavy thing, right? MIB-based, OID-based, very heavy tool. So there are big talk in the industry about telemetry. We are taking that also into account. Sure, thank you so much. More around management and monitoring, sure.
Are you volunteering to help with some?
Thank you, Shabnil. Anyone? Is paper around, Krishna? Paper diya tapaile? Yeah, just pass the paper around. Some people might be shy.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. My name is Bikram Shrestha. I am from Sanima Bank. So even in IT manager, banks could not perform you set up BGP pairing in Nepalese bank. Even they already attend the this training. So it's very difficult to, we get already IP address from the APNIC, but it's still could not make it. Yeah.
So that's again going back to fundamentals. So that means, yes, telemetry is a very advanced concept, SDN is an advanced concept, but fundamentals like BGP is still also relevant, right? So if you can give us this kind of inputs about what is relevant in your part of the world, I think tailoring it shouldn't be difficult for us, for sure. Thank you. Has everyone written something down on the papers they have? We can collect the papers, Krishna. Maybe you can collect. We will and pass it around to Warren. Warren can list those, and then we will try to project that up here, and then let's discuss how we overcome them. Yeah.
Can you explain what you're supposed to write? Sorry.
No, what we were saying is, we were requesting the crowd if they can list down some real operational issues that they're facing, like Shabnil said, it's more around a real-time monitoring of things. Yes, I understand SNMP is not SNMP is not good enough for that kind of work, so telemetry is a good thing. Maybe that should encourage APNIC to develop things around telemetry, and then maybe a bit more around configuration management, Yang, Netconf, and any orchestration tool down. So if you have any such real operational issues, so we were just saying if you could list it down, and then we will try and see how we can help. Not saying we can help with everything, but with whatever we can help, we will try to do that from our part. Yeah, thank you.
Taji, if I may.
Jetro from Vanuatu, I'll introduce you.
Thank you. Regarding the trainings that you got, EPNIC is providing. I think they are really good. Operational issues. There's something that I see which I think justifies the need for some of the trainings that EPNIC is providing. One of which is the area of security. Where I know this in my area of work, how we have junior staff and people who've just joined the team. They always make the mistake of using weak passwords and simple things. So the trainings that EPNIC is providing in the area of security, I think these trainings are very important, especially I think for us in the Pacific, where we do not really think that security is still a big of an issue. So I think security trainings are very important for us in the area.
Sure, thank you. So we try and do more security trainings in the Pacific. And would you like that to be mixed with something else, or are the existing contents enough? Or you could list that down. You don't have to.
Sure. Another one is routing best practices. Same. You have a new guy coming in. Of course, you will want him to know the best practices when it comes to maybe configuring a router or a switch. Well, I've experienced something just a few months ago where we have an engineer in one of our ISPs, and there's one existing connection which they have to the IXP, and yet I'm not sure what he was doing to their connection. He stuffed up a lot of things, so I'm not sure if, well, that person really attends trainings like this to really help him to understand the best practices and things like that. So I think routing trainings are really important as well.
Thank you. So it's around BCops, best current operational practices, focusing on routing and others. Sure. Anyone brave enough? If you're not brave enough, Krishna is walking around collecting papers. You can hand over your papers to Krishna.
Thank you. Hello everyone. My name is Maire from Tonga. I'm speaking on my behalf. I'm not sure whether this fits the question, but I'm just since coming to the V6 workshop, it was really nice learning a lot. My question is basically, what if my upstream, for example, if we want to go back and deploy V6 on our network, what if my upstream does not support V6 at the moment? What is the best way of approaching it in your experience? Is anyway, if we can wait until they support, or?
That's a good question.
Okay.
Jordy is in the room, but let's move on to the next question.
Jordy, just
That's a good one.
who is the next one? Philip, you?
Where maybe you could. No, Simon. You wanted to. Someone?
Someone from here, I guess.
Yeah. Big fella.
I'm Bola, Watisoni from Fiji. Probably just a comment on the cybersecurity aspect of the training. If there is an opportunity to develop a CTF sort of environment, so that whatever students that come for the NetSec or the InfoSec streams could put into practice and test themselves continuously, and it would be a good platform to grade your learning as well as your understanding of what's been taught during the workshops.
Yeah, thank you. Can you repeat no, not the whole thing. Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you.
I think he is asking for the NetSec and the InfoSec. I think you have a virtual lab, right?
So you want to capture the flag.
Flags. Okay.
So the environment, so that you learn the tools that in the last half hour, so you do capture the flag and your teams get points.
For the NetSec and InfoSec. One get that.
Anything else? Anyone? Yes, sir.
I think it will also be useful or informative much more if it's new, if the subject matter is new to the participants, is to provide the information security spectrum. So maybe from assessment of vulnerabilities, or say disaster something, disaster assessment, and then how to prevent, how to defend, and in the event of occurrence, how to recover. So if we could also discuss about data recovery in the event of risk.
Sure, sir. A more wholesome approach to
occurrence.
security, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Starting from assessment and all, yes. And we have our colleagues, Jamie and Adliba, I think, in the room. Oh, Jamie is here. So I'm hoping our security specialists are also taking note of those so that they can help us. All right. So maybe since we don't have much,
We have 9 minutes.
if you can pass that paper around to Warren. Warren, if you could share some of the questions up, and then we can discuss how APD can help. Doesn't necessarily have to be just trainings. Could also be us bringing in experts in the field as our consultants. Right? Do you want to say something? Yes, sir. Please feed us on. Amazing.
Thank you, Tashi. The only issue is the IXP. Tashi came over last year to Fiji to deploy the Fiji Internet Exchange. At the moment, it's still on bilateral. I was having a chat with Tashi regarding moving forward, because it's about over a year now. Yeah, that's the only issue about the exchange, internet exchange in Fiji. Yeah.
Thank you. So I get it. Continuous, right? It is not just something that we do once and then let it be. You know, we have a continuous interaction and then we take it to the next level. Thank you so much, big fella, for that, Felipe. Thanks.
Hi Tashi, this is Badrika from APNIC. I'm just going to ask a question from Ziam Abdeen on chat. He wants to know, there's so many technical trainings, but for IoT, they don't really have any practical sessions or workshops, and if this is something that can be thought about for APNIC events.
For IoT devices, right?
For IoT.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Ziambai. If you're listening in, Ziambai, if you're listening in, I take your note. Take note of your point, and it's a very good question. Hopefully, I'll get to see you around very soon. Yes, sure, we will take that into account. We are not experts in this field, and we do realize that. But there are experts in the field whom we can consult and help us come up with content around that. Thank you. Come here, Simon. Mike.
I think Ziam wanted the IoT practical labs in a workshop, right? So we had last APNIC 45 and Apricot. We had a IoT.
Yes.
With a 5 days
Yes.
workshop, and I think the whole hotel was there was, I think, 100 of IoT devices they installed in all the doors.
Dosed by IoT
yes.
folks, yeah.
So they are monitoring all the doors and everything, even like going towards the foyer area, and if anyone is entering in any room, so they are monitoring that one. That was a really fun lab.
Yeah.
So we have that one. You know.
So that is more around IoT usage, and Ziam pointed out security around IoT, sure. So we'll ask those experts who helped us then.
Thank you. I'm Dan David from Papua New Guinea. I think we have a couple of issues that is still affecting, especially the internet and use of internet in our country. I think first of all, we still have geographical issues where it's I mean, although we have about 10 gig from Sydney on the PPC1 cable into PNG, but it's really underutilized because it's not hitting Port Moresby. It's hitting Medang in one of the provinces, and we still have the geographical barrier that is really affecting the penetration of internet in PNG. Apart from that, we also have some maybe we can say political issues or maybe competition between the ISPs, and although one of our government arms, the NICTA, has set up an IX, I think with the help of EPNIC and a few others, but most ISPs maybe haven't peered on the IX yet, and that's one of the big problems we still have. And also the internet is really expensive in PNG compared to other Pacific countries. So maybe my suggestion would be for EPNIC to set up maybe an avenue where we ask all the ISPs in PNG to come together and ask them to maybe have some common understanding and play on a level playing field, and maybe that would solve some of our issues. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take note of that. But like you yourself mentioned, we helped with the internet exchange there. Technical part is so easy to do, but internal politics or competitive politics, competition politics, that's what we try and stay away from, because we need to be neutral. We are neutral. Right? But like I said, technically, whatever we can do, we do help out. We have been requested to lobby the big CDN providers on behalf of IXPs. As you saw during the panel discussions, we do know them. We do request them on your behalf. So those parts we can handle, but when it comes to internal rifts, internal politics, mistrust amongst competing ISPs, it's a tough one, and we understand it's not just in PNG, even in a small place like Bhutan, my own country, it is a real problem. Takes time, and that's why it's very important that we build that community spirit, right? We need technical level people are okay. It's the top management where most of the decisions get taken, and then economics comes into place, politics comes into play, and I really, sure, but we will take note of that. Really don't know how we will help there, but it's still a very valid point. I think many countries face that problem.
Sorry, Tashi, it's Badrika again from APNIC. I've got two other comments here from the chat. Fahad wants to talk once more on best practices on various issues in a typical network environment. And Yasser was suggested to add more automation as well.
What was that?
Automation. Yeah.
Yep. Sure.
And I think that is it.
Fahad
Yes.
and thanks, Badrika. Fahad and Yasir, if you're listening, good to hear you again. Sorry that sad to see you guys didn't make it here. By the way, Fahad was a part of our first SDN workshop last year in APNIC 44. It's really good to see he has remained active within the community, and also he also wants to be a part of our community trainer pool, and he's in the list. But yeah, we will take that into consideration. Fahad, I think yours is a repeat of what someone mentioned earlier on about best current operational practices. And on Yasir's request for automation, if you had attended our workshop, you would have known that we were discussing that the second part of our SDN workshop would be more focused around automation, configuration management and stuff. So yeah, a very valid input. Thank you so much. I think,
I have one last one. Still on security, the trainings that JPNIC provides, for example, the information security, net security, I guess that is targeting the network engineers, network admins, which is very good. Now I see a bigger problem whereby the end users, yeah. So, is there any way that APNIC can also assist in this area, provide awareness, or is that expected of network engineers to do that? Or if that is the way forward, is there anything that APNIC does to assist the network engineers with that task, or is it, yeah.
Thank you, Jethro. I might request Jamie or Chehu to help me out here on end user awareness in terms of security, how APNIC can help. Jamie, you have anything you would like to share around this? Ulai dinuni Krishna, Jamie lai dinuni. Ule got sorry. So
Which
it's
one?
okay, Jamie, you can
Yeah,
start.
you got me? Okay, cool. Yes, end user awareness. Thank you for asking. It's almost as if I paid you money to ask this question. While it's not a core part of APNIC, I personally have invested some time doing end user awareness training inside APNIC, because I'm one of only 2 people that have security in my title within APNIC. So after developing the internal security awareness training course, I'm actually going to be making a small modification to the course and then making it available online through the academy. And I've got some other plans on how to progress that further as well. But it's taking already made investments and putting it out there. If you were to say just out of the blue, should APNIC be doing end user training? The answer is probably no, but because I've already developed it, it will be carrying on. So the possible way that this may go, no promises, but it may go, is a recorded 1-hour session that is aimed for end users across all information security, everything from passwords to lock your laptop when you walk away. Then maybe taking that and cutting it down and doing a smaller version to show to new staff on day 1 when they start within your organization, so that right away, day 1, even before they pick a password and set their password, you give them that little intro on why passwords are important and how to choose a good password. We may build that in with the academy a bit more, include some questions and answers to make sure that they're understanding the information. It may be available just as a plain video. But yeah, it's something that, that is in the works at the moment, and it's good to hear that it would be useful from a lot of organizations as well.
Yeah, just to echo what Jamie just said, this is not of priority to us. Our focus is mostly the technical community, but yeah, APNIC Academy will be a good platform. If we have done something valuable, we'll put it up on APNIC Academy so that you know, the end users or relevant people can make reference to it. And then in fact, it's very scalable. Thousands of people can log in to watch it. Yeah.
Hi, Tashi. I'm Shaila from Bangladesh. Okay, APNIC is encouraging their member organization for quite some time for deploy IPv6 at their and for the end user customers, something like that. The question is, like maybe asked multiple times earlier, that the workshop that usually APNIC conduct in the APNIC and apricots and SANOG and other NOG meetings, those are mainly like the infrastructure. Those are the mainly infrastructure. Even in SANOG 32, that was for the first time, there was like a DNS 64 with the net 64 stateful configuration, or like 6-bone, this kind of configuration example was shown. But still, there are like a lot of organization, maybe they don't want to contact with foreign expertise to take their help, or maybe they don't want to discuss about their network with the foreign expertise, but still they want to deploy in their network, the IPv6. And they already maybe have deployed it in their backbone, but they are still facing, or they are still confused about the access network. So in this kind of scenario, like we can see that a lot of blog posts are coming out in APNIC blog that okay, this organization has gone through this kind of experiences, so they are sharing their experiences, but still there is some design issue in the access network, and people has a lot of questions, like in a broadband, not in a telecom network. In a telecom network, for the access network, you can easily go for 464 XLET. But for a broadband network who is giving last mile connectivity with fiber, FTTH, something like that, but they are also wanting to go with IPv6 only in the last mile. So if they think about it, okay, like I will do the stateful NAT 64 with DNS 64. So after thinking that, they might be going to test it, but when they will read about it in many pages, in many blogs, they will see that it's broken or it comes with a lot of problem. So then the problem and then the question arises that how actually they are going to deploy their access network. And definitely, like people who are considering to deploy IPv6 in their network, definitely they are already have lack of IPv4 already in their network. Not only the real IP, also the private IP. Also the private IP. So they want to go for IPv6 only on the last mile. So this kind of case scenario or this kind of design things, like how APNIC is going to come forward to solve this kind of issues. So this is one of my question. And another thing is, like most of the companies, they want it for free. Like the ISPs, they actually like want this kind of consultation for free. So how this kind of problem can be solved, and how can you help us with this thing?
That was a long one, Shaila, but I get the message. I have my own operational experience deploying V6 very early, and like we were trying to say during yesterday's panel discussion, it was not because we ran out of V4 address, it was because we wanted to learn. We were one of the first countries in that part of the world we deployed. Challenges were there, yes, but the learning was there too, yes. But and like you said, backbone is not difficult. It's easy, straightforward. The problem is in the access. Right? Sometimes vendors take advantage of you and they'll say, all right, pay me a license for this kind of context. So it's beyond, sometimes it's beyond technical challenges. It's also people wanting to tap into. But what I wanted to say, since we're running out of time, what I wanted to say is we have, in last NPNOC 3 and also BTNOC 5, we have tried to custom build some labs using Joel, and also OpenWRT on stateless and stateful NAT64 concepts, because yes, dual stack would be nice and easy to do, but some people don't want to do it that way, so they wanted to know different ways of doing it, so we do have content around that. But now the challenge is for us to find out every kind of last mile network that people have, and also the choices that they want to make, and based on individual choices, I think it's quite difficult for us to. Yes. Sure, and we have experts who are focused only around that, right? But to have free consultation is quite, nothing comes for free, for sure, in this world. So expecting that is quite, Jody, since we are running out of time.
Very quickly. One last point. In fact, if you have time to take a look at the latest survey, we have received a lot of requests on training for IPv6 deployment and network security. Definitely we will do more on that part, but of course on the details we need your inputs.
Yes. Sure, so maybe with that, and Jordi is in the room, right guys? We will have to meet the APNIC EC social outside. Please catch hold of him. He flew all the way from Spain. I don't know how many hours of travel it was for him. 30 hours. So make use of him and catch hold of me too. I've also deployed V6 in the real network, so you want to catch hold of me, please do. Right, let's network. Anyways, guys, thank you for coming. But more importantly, I think we got too carried away. by the discussions. More importantly, please become a part of the network. Please submit your expression of interest. Be a part of our community trainers network. Thank you so much and have a good evening, guys.